Okay, so now we're in part two of installing Octave, and now we want to make sure that things are running correctly. So we're going to test to see if the Python of path has been correctly installed. And remember, we did that within Python. We told Python to go ahead and set a path to itself on our computer. And so what we'll do is to just check whether things have installed properly, and perhaps we already have Python and GNU Octave linked up, is to, I'm going to jump to step 3 here, execute pkg space install space dash forge space symbolic. And what that does is that actually goes out to the web and downloads the symbolic package and places it into GNU Octave. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this. And now I'm going to go ahead and paste this inside of my command window. So this is the command window. This is where we'll execute all of our lines of code. This tells us what our current file browsing directory is. This is our workspace where any variables and symbols that we create get stored, and we can see their dimensions and values if we're working with matrices. And here's our command history, which if we double click anything, then we can actually immediately access that command. So I'm going to go ahead and try to install this symbolic package, and one of two things will happen. Either in the list of stuff that Octave spews out here, it'll tell me that it's loading correctly, that it's being installed properly, or it will tell me that it cannot locate the link to Python. So I'm going to go ahead and let this run for a moment. Again, this looks like it's not doing anything, but you notice that right now we just have a flashing cursor. Anytime that we are actually back to the command window, in other words, we're done executing, or Octave is done executing, we should get these double greater than signs indicating that whatever has needed to run has been run appropriately. So we're going to let this run for a minute and see what happens. Okay, well, it's completed. It took maybe just under a minute, and it just gave me a message here and jumped back to the double greater than sign, meaning it's done executing. So it says, for information about changes from previous versions, run news symbolic. This is good news. This means that it has located Python, it has located SymPy, everything is in order, and we're in good shape to run. The other possibility that you might get is an error. And I'm going to show you how to fix that error. It'll tell you that searching for Python : no, meaning that it has not been able to locate it. So if you have a screen that looks like this, everything is positive and nothing else needs to be run, I'll show you next, if you do get an error, how to fix that. And we'll go ahead and pull that up. So we're going to go ahead and open our start menu here, and we're going to click on computer. So this will take you to the standard window, and go ahead and right click on the computer icon. You can also do this from, probably easier to do it from here. Just right click on computer, click properties. That will take you to the properties page, and under the left toolbar here, select advanced system settings. That will take you to this window for system properties. We want to make sure we're under the advanced tab. Under the Advanced tab, you want to click Environment Variables. So again, the reason we're running this is because perhaps you got an error. It could not find Python, and so now we're going to tell it where to go. So here are these different environment variables. If you don't see any environment variables here, you can come down and scroll and look for path. PATH is basically you telling Windows where different things live. Now you can already see here that for me, because when I was installing Python, I had it add itself to the path, that it did this automatically for me. If you're getting an error, this may not have installed properly, or you may have forgotten to have checked that button. So make sure you do not delete anything out of here. If you accidentally delete something like that, first of all, it won't let you click OK, so click cancel, and then go back to it and click edit. So go all the way to the very end of, and if you just press the end button, that will jump you to the end. And so you'll type in a semicolon, and now we want to tell Windows where it should go look for Python. So that is the location where Python installed originally. So if you recall, that for on this computer was my local drive, and now it installed itself down on Python 27. So I'm going to double click that, And so all I want to do is I want to copy this path. So I'm going to click inside of the location window or the address window here. I'm going to go ahead and right click, highlight that, copy it. And all I have to do now is go in after my semicolon and paste that location and click the OK button. Now mine's already installed, so I'm going to click cancel, but if you're getting that error, you want to add that and click OK. So you should have now, if you go in and edit the path variable, at the very end, or in my case the very beginning, you should see C:/Python/. By having installed Python correctly, it also added some other variables which are not necessary for us, but we want to make sure that it knows where this path is. The next thing we're going to do is create something called Python path. Now Python path is a system variable that's going to go into the site packages. Now you can see mine's already installed here, and that might be a result of having run the Python install correctly. But basically we want to tell Python, or tell our computer to locate a system variable that other software might go searching for Python by. So it's called Python path. And I'm going to go ahead and delete this so I can show you how to install it. So let's say I don't have it there. Okay, so as you can see, I'm looking through, I don't see Python path. Alright, well now I'm going to go ahead and click new. And I'm going to give this a variable name, so make sure you capitalize it. It has to be Python path typed out. And so now the variable value, we're going to tell basically our computer where it should go when something searches for the variable Python path. So now we're going to go back into our C drive, into our Python 2.7 folder, and we want to go into this libs folder, and wrong folder. We want to go into our, it's actually under capital LIB, not the libs, but we'll go to capital lib, and then we want to scroll down to where it says site packages. So we'll double click on site packages, and we want to grab that address. So I'm just going to go ahead and click in the address bar again, make sure that's highlighted, and I'm going to copy that. So now I can go over and paste that into variable value. And again, very important that everything is exact, that Python path is spelled out, that there aren't any misspellings. A computer is a very particular and specific system, and so if you if a library or package tries to access Python path and you have a lowercase a in here, it's really going to look for this exact spelling. So now when you click OK and you scroll down, well, nothing shows up here because those are user variables. That's a little different. But now I should have Python path in here, and you should see that the value is C:/Python 27/lib/site-packages, unless you again installed it somewhere else. And now I should be able to click OK, and that makes sure that the environment variables are set. Again, make sure you click OK out of this. Don't cancel anything, otherwise you risk something not being stored and having to run through that again. So okay, so now if we had any issues, we should now have corrected those issues by having set the path in Python path. Now if you recall, originally I didn't have any issues because while installing Python I told it to basically set itself in the path. So now you would want to, if you had errors to begin with, you'd want to run package install -forge symbolic once again. If you still get an error, try closing out and reopening Octave. You should have a link with this little ring with the 3 orange circles on your desktop, and it might need to reload itself. But I don't think so. I think you should be fine by running it again in case you did get an error the first time around. Okay, so last step is to run the build packages.m, and that is located, if you recall, in our original README file here. It tells us start Octave and then open the build packages.m file found in the src folder where Octave was installed. Okay, well that's fairly simple to find. We can go up here to the current directory and do browse directories, and we recall that this got stored into the C drive under Octave, and so I'm going to let this load up. So now that we're loaded up, go over to my computer. This might be a little clunky at first, so be patient with it. Then we'll go to C and we'll go to Octave. Again, we'll go to Octave 3.8.2, and it said to go into SRC. So this is the current directory that we want, Octave-Octave 3.8.2 /SRC, so we'll choose that one. And now inside of here, we should have a variety of packages. Now these tar.gz packages are not yet loaded, so we'll want to actually run build packages.m, and so we can just double click on that. Well, actually that will show us the source for that, so what we actually want to do is we want to just go ahead and go to the command window and type in build packages. And so now, once we have build_packages typed in, again you'll notice that our cursor is blinking and there's all this information here. And so now it's actually running this try install, and it's actually running installation of these different files. So this is going to take a little bit of time, so definitely go get some coffee, because these are all the packages that it's going to attempt to load. So we're going to let it load, and you're going to see a bunch of information on here. Don't let it freak you out. You don't need to understand what it's saying. There shouldn't be any problems running these things because all the packages are here and located. So we're going to wait for that to finish installing. Again, this may take a little bit of time. This could take anywhere from 10 to 25 minutes. Okay, so now everything has completely installed, and as you scroll through, or if you've been watching this while the packages have been installing themselves, you notice a whole long list of scripting that takes place, and none of that is really relevant unless you get a really big error at the end, which shouldn't again be the case because all of these packages are already available on your local drive. Also, one thing you can do is if you do open the build packages.m, notice that opens up in the editor tab, and this is the actual code that it's executing. So each time it installs a new package, you'll see appear in your command window try install and then the package name. For example, here I noticed that if you can kind of cryptically navigate through all this stuff, it says try install ltfat-2.0.1.tar.gz, and then you can kind of go into this list and see exactly where you are. LTFAT, there it is. So that was the last package it was installing, so you can see where you are exactly. Alternatively, if you want to forego installing all these packages for now, you probably can, but you never know when you're going to need them, and it's just best to execute this whole thing. So for me, this took about an hour, but I had a lot of applications running in the background. So that's it. Congratulations. This is the whole install. And to get rid of some of this stuff, what you can do is actually type in CLC, and what that will do is it'll just clear your command. So CLC stands for clear command window. If you use the clear command, just CLEAR, that's going to clear your workspace, and any variables that you have defined in there will clear out. That's sometimes necessary. So that didn't clear my command window, but if I press CLC enter, that'll clear everything out again. So congratulations, that's the whole install process, and you should now have Octaves correctly installed with the Symbolic package. One way to check if everything is working is to actually load the package. So even though these packages are installed, each time we run Octave, we want to load the package that we're going to be using. And the reason for this is because it takes up memory, and the more packages you have loaded, that can slow things down significantly. So we're going to package load, or pkg space load space symbolic, and so looks like nothing is run. We're back to our command line. That's good news, but a good way to check if it's working is to actually define some variables, and the way we do that is by the command called syms, and then the variable that we want to define. So that's good. Actually, the first time you define a symbol, it's going to say Octave SymPy is loaded, it's free, it's without warranty, and in just a moment we're going to see, and this could be a little bit slower the first time it runs, is that now the variable x is defined. So now if I want to do something like integration, which is the command int, I could say int, or the integral of x squared with respect to x, and I would do that by int parenthesis open x caret 2 comma x close parenthesis, and when I press enter, that actually quickly goes over to Python and outputs. It's not a very beautiful output, but you have that function now, and you know that it's x cubed over 3. One quick little thing that we notice is that it doesn't add the arbitrary constant on there, so just keep that in mind. So that's it.